Have you ever thought about how much a single road can change things? What if we're talking about an entire network of roads? Today, we're taking a close look at the ambitious highway system in Nepal's Sudurpaschim province. It's a fascinating story about how a nation is literally paving its path to the future.
Okay, let's jump right in. What you're looking at here is the master plan. It's this incredible web of highways designed to connect every single corner of the region. But this isn't just a map of roads, you know. It's really a blueprint for a total transformation. So let's break down what this plan actually means for the people and the economy. All right, here's our game plan for this briefing. First, we're going to explore why this region is so strategically important. Then, we'll get into the details, mapping out the highway network itself. After that, we'll do a reality check on its current progress, uncover a pretty significant funding problem, and then wrap up by looking at what a completed network could really mean for the future. So first things first, why all the focus on this one province? Well, it's because we're talking about a land of absolutely incredible potential, located at what you could call a critical crossroads for the entire nation. This unique geography, well, it's everything. Think about it. It borders two of the world's biggest economies. Because of that, Sudurpaschim isn't just some remote province. It's a potential tri-national economic corridor. And the highways we're about to discuss, they are the keys to unlocking that gateway status. So, with that context in mind, let's move on and actually map out these arteries of progress. What does this massive network really look like on paper? Okay, now what's really striking here is the sheer scale of this vision. We're not talking about one or two roads. We're looking at 11 distinct national highways with a total planned length of almost 2,130 kilometers. I mean, that's massive. This whole network is designed to crisscross the province, connecting the flat southern plains all the way up to the remote northern Himalayas. Let's zoom in on a few key examples. First, you have the foundational piece, the NH01, also known as the Mahendra Highway. You can think of this as the main east-west artery. It's the economic backbone of the Terai region, linking up the major population centers. Now, running parallel to that, but a bit further north, is the NH03, the Mid-Hill Highway. This one is really interesting. It's what's called a national pride project. And its goal isn't just about transportation. It's also about, you could say, social engineering. The idea is to develop the economies of the hill districts, create opportunities, and maybe, just maybe, slow down the migration of people to the plains and overseas. And this right here perfectly illustrates the international ambition. The NH66, the Mahakali Highway, is a true north-south corridor. The vision? To connect the Indian border crossing in the south all the way up to the Chinese border in the north. If they pull this off, it creates a direct trade route between two economic giants, right through Nepal. But, you know, a plan is one thing, and pavement is another. So what's the actual status of these massive projects? This is where we have to look at the long and sometimes difficult road to completion. You know, building a highway, especially in a terrain like this, is a really complex process. It all starts with tons of planning, detailed project reports, environmental studies. Then you move to the heavy lifting, the earthwork, laying down gravel. And only after all that do you finally get to the blacktopping and building the crucial bridges. It's important to keep this process in mind when we look at the progress data. So this data really paints the clear picture. The good news? Over 1,000 kilometers are blacktopped. And that's a huge achievement, no doubt about it. But this is where the story gets a little more complicated. Just look at the rest of that chart. We've got hundreds of kilometers that are still just gravel or basic earthen roads. And the biggest piece of that to-do list, almost 700 kilometers, that's about a third of the entire vision, are still just lines on a map, still in the planning phase. So that grand vision is still a long, long way from being a reality. And that brings us directly to the core of the problem here. It's a massive gap between the grand vision and the resources that are actually allocated to make it happen. Just listen to the official vision for the Mahakali Highway for a second. We're talking about a strategic gateway for commerce, attracting 2 million annual tourists, unlocking the region's economic potential. I mean, this is the promise, right? It's huge. Okay, so hold that incredible vision in your mind, and now look at this number. For the upcoming fiscal year, the Madan Bandari Highway, that's a 141-kilometer strategic industrial corridor, has been allocated just 0.25 crore. That's 2.5 million rupees. This stark contrast is really at the heart of the entire challenge. And believe me, this pattern continues across the entire network. The Mahakali Highway, that vital tri-national trade corridor, gets 6 core. The National Pride Project, the Pushbalal Highway, gets 13.5 core. Even the best funded project on this list, the Mahakali Corridor, really highlights the same fundamental issue. For so many of these world-changing projects, the ambitious goals simply are not matched by the budget. So, despite all of these challenges, what does the path forward look like? I mean, what is truly at stake if this network can actually be completed?
Well, a fully realized network would be nothing short of transformative. We're talking about having travel time between the plains and the hills. And that's not just about convenience. That's about a farmer getting their produce to market or a sick person reaching a hospital in time. It would create genuine trade corridors with India and China, boost tourism to secret sites like Kailash Mansarovar, and finally, integrate some of the most remote Himalayan communities into the national economy. And this visualizes the journey perfectly. On the left, you see the complete blueprint, the grand design. On the right, you see one critical piece of that puzzle, the Mahakali Corridor, a project that just embodies all that potential for trade and development. The challenge, really, is to turn the blueprint on the left into the reality on the right, but for the entire province. So, this leaves us with a final and pretty critical question. The potential for unprecedented growth is crystal clear. The plans are all laid out. The challenge, it seems, comes down to resources and political will. So we have to ask, with so much on the line, how will the nation prioritize the roads that literally connect it to its own future?